Over the years, Camilla's place in the royal family has caused tension, but no one expected what had just come to light. A trusted palace insider, recently given access to Queen Camilla's private estate, has uncovered something shocking. The estate was never hidden from the public, but no one imagined this kind of discovery. Now, what was found is making headlines and raising serious questions. But what exactly was found inside Camilla's estate, and how could this change her place in the royal family? Join us as we uncover what they found in Queen Camilla's estate and why it's causing such a stir. The shocking discovery in Camilla's estate. Even though Queen Camilla now wears a crown, she still holds on to parts of her private life, like owning a home where she can live quietly, away from the royal spotlight. Her private home is called Ray Mill House, and it's in a quiet part of Wiltshire. This is a luxurious estate with beautiful gardens and stable staff. It's peaceful, private, and completely hers, not part of the official royal properties. But there is something that makes people curious about the estate. Many have been questioning whether a queen should be allowed to own a private home entirely outside the royal family, especially when it's not just a small house, but a full estate. Ray Mill House is not just a quiet home in the countryside. It's a historic building with special status. It was built in the 1860s and is officially listed as a Grade II Italianate country house, meaning it's recognized for its architectural importance. Located near the village of Lacock in Wiltshire, the home stands out with its decorative design, asymmetrical layout, and some neo-Georgian additions added over the years. It has 6 bedrooms, offering more than enough space for a private, peaceful life away from the public eye. The estate covers about 12 acres of land, and the gardens have been praised in British magazines, including Country Life, where Camilla posed for photos on her 75th birthday. These gardens are a mix of trimmed lawns and natural-looking landscapes. A stream runs through the area, adding to the calm atmosphere. Outdoor features also include a heated swimming pool. Inside the home, several rooms have been described in detail by media outlets. The kitchen is bright and homey, with yellow walls, red tiles, blue flooring, and a round table at the center. The dining room has cream and white wallpaper, cream carpets, wooden furniture, framed paintings with gold edges, and a chandelier overhead. The location adds even more meaning. Ray Mill House is just about 15 minutes by car from Highgrove House, the residence of King Charles. When a nearby estate, the Old Mill, was put up for sale, Charles reportedly bought it for around £3 million. The reason is to stop it from being turned into a public or commercial venue, and to make sure Camilla's privacy at Ray Mill House stays protected. It's this level of luxury and careful design that has stirred public controversy. But after a closer look and thorough investigation, here's what we found. Camilla bought Ray Mill House in 1996, not long after her divorce from Andrew Parker Bowles. At the time, she was still years away from becoming queen. But she had already started to build a private life outside the strict boundaries of royal expectation. Ray Mill wasn't just any country house. It was chosen because it offered space and distance. The house cost £850,000 at the time. That figure may not seem extreme today, but in the 1990s, it was a strong investment. While the current value hasn't been officially listed, property experts estimate it's now worth around £1 to £1.2 million. That's based on the size of the house, the land around it, and the rising value of homes in that part of Wiltshire. It's not the most expensive royal property by any stretch. Ray Mill House is only a short drive from Highgrove, where Charles lived at the time. That wasn't a coincidence. It meant Camilla could stay close without living under the same roof. This gave her some space, but still kept her close by. People who paid attention back then knew this was important. Being nearby helped their relationship grow, while still making it easier to keep things private and under control. Even after she married Charles in 2005, Camilla didn't give up the house. Clarence House became their main home in London, but Ray Mill stayed in her name. It was still her place to escape, not for official duties. Ray Mill was where she went to be out of sight. In fact, it became her emotional retreat. When Queen Elizabeth died in 2022, Camilla returned to Ray Mill. It was where she mourned in private, away from Buckingham Palace. For her, it offered the one thing royal life often cannot. Family events took place there too. In 2006, her daughter, Laura Lopes, held her wedding reception at Ray Mill. That detail didn't make big headlines, but it reflected how the house continued to play a central role in their private lives. It was large enough to host guests, but still felt like home. For her 78th birthday in July 2025, Camilla chose Ray Mill House as the setting for her official portrait, taken by royal photographer Chris Jackson. This wasn't a first. She had used the same backdrop for her 75th birthday and her appearance on the cover of Country Life. Camilla still uses Ray Mill House as her personal getaway till date, often going there on weekends to relax and take a break from royal life. Some media have even called it her messy hideout.
The British monarch has given her blessing for Prince Charles' wife Camilla to be called Queen Consort.
Because it's where she can be herself. Even though Ray Mill is her private space, their main home has been Clarence House since 2003. But while some question her having a private estate outside official royal property, it's important to note that Ray Mill House has belonged to Camilla since before she married Charles. And she's not alone. Camilla isn't the only royal to own private property beyond the crown's estate. So, how unusual is this really? Let's take a look at the others. Stay tuned. Queen Elizabeth's estates. Queen Elizabeth became queen in February 1952 after the death of her father, King George. She was only 25 years old when she took the throne. Along with the title came many responsibilities, but also some private things. Not everything belonged to the government. Some homes were hers alone. These properties were passed down in the family and were not part of her official royal role. They were personal, not public. One of those homes was Sandringham House. She inherited it in 1952, the same year she became queen. It is in Norfolk and had been passed down from her father, just like the crown. It had originally been bought in 1862 by Queen Victoria and Prince Albert, using their personal money, which helped set a legal precedent for royal private ownership. Sandringham was used for private moments. Every year, she would spend Christmas there with her family. It was quiet, peaceful, and away from the public. She also inherited Balmoral Castle that same year. It is in Scotland and served as her private summer home. Even though it looks like something out of a fairy tale, it was never owned by the state. Prince Albert bought it for Queen Victoria in 1852. Since then, it has stayed in the family. It was not part of the government's royal buildings. Queen Elizabeth used Balmoral to relax, invite close friends, and spend time with her family. She even personally decorated parts of the interior, choosing fabrics and colors herself, giving it a homely touch that contrasted sharply with more formal royal residences. Both Sandringham and Balmoral were clearly private. They were not paid for by public money, and they didn't belong to the crown. They stayed in the family through inheritance. Even when other royal buildings were tied to the government, these two weren't. And due to special rules for the royal family,
I think it's wonderful work. And I do thank everybody and all the others too who've been volunteering.
She didn't have to pay inheritance tax on them either. That helped keep them as family properties for generations. Another big part of the Queen's private wealth was the Duchy of Lancaster. This is a large group of properties and land that belongs to the monarch. It is very old and has always been passed to the new ruler. Even though it sounds official, it is treated as private. It made money for the Queen, which she could use for both work and personal needs. The Duchy of Lancaster included many types of land and buildings. One famous part of it was the Savoy Estate in London. This duchy brought in about £18 million every year. That money didn't come from taxes, and it gave the Queen a steady income of her own. Even though the Queen couldn't sell the duchy's land, she had the right to use the money it made. It also allowed her to fund smaller projects and patronages without needing approval from Parliament or the Treasury. This was possible because of rules written hundreds of years ago. These rules still gave her full control of the profits. The law says the duchy must be passed from monarch to monarch, but the income belongs to the one sitting on the throne. The duchy is governed by its own council. and operated independently from other royal finances, ensuring its private character remains intact despite its public origins. The Queen didn't only inherit property. Around 1978, she bought Delnadamph Lodge. It was near Balmoral, and she paid about £750,000 for it. This was her personal money. The home was later given to Prince Charles and Princess Diana. They didn't keep it long. Over time, it wasn't used and later had to be torn down. Still, the fact that she bought it shows she wasn't just living off old family homes. She sometimes added new ones to her list. Another property with royal ties was Frogmore House. It wasn't privately owned by the Queen, but it was often used for personal family events. Royal wedding receptions took place there.
But for me, in the months since the death of my beloved Philip, I have drawn great comfort.
Peter Phillips held his there in 2008. Prince Harry did the same in 2018. While the home is officially part of the Crown Estate, it felt more like a private space. Its seclusion within the grounds of Windsor Castle made it an ideal place for informal celebrations and less public-facing gatherings. Just like Queen Elizabeth, Charles owns a private property, and the first one he ever bought with his own money was Highgrove House in 1980. Located in the peaceful countryside of Gloucestershire, this Georgian-style estate became his personal retreat, far from the pressures of royal life. Contrary to what some might think, there's no law that stops a royal from owning a private home. British law doesn't say a king or queen can't have private property, and this has been shown through places like Balmoral Castle and Sandringham House. These homes were never part of the Crown Estate. They belonged to the monarch as a person, not as a ruler. This means Queen Elizabeth could own homes the same way any regular citizen could. She had legal title to them, just like anyone else would with a deed registered under their name, protected by the same property laws that govern all UK homeowners. The difference between royal homes and state buildings is important. Some famous places, like Buckingham Palace, Windsor Castle, and Holyrood House, do not belong to the monarch. They are held by the Crown Estate, which is managed by the government. These places are used for work, state dinners, meetings, and events. The Queen could live in them, but she could not sell them or pass them on to her children. When people look at the total size of royal property, it can seem huge. Some reports say the royal family is linked to about £18 billion worth of land and buildings. The Crown Estate alone is worth over £15 billion and includes prime property in London's West End, major shopping districts, and even seabed rights around the UK. Most royal properties actually belong to the state, not to the royals themselves. Queen Elizabeth's truly private homes were much fewer. Her main personal homes were Balmoral Castle in Scotland and Sandringham House in Norfolk. She also got money from the Duchy of Lancaster, which gave her a private income. She once added Delnadamph Lodge to her list of homes, but that didn't last long. Aside from these, most other royal places weren't hers. Personally, they were public and part of the crown. However, none of this ever sparked the kind of controversy Camilla's estate has. The attention surrounding her private home has raised more eyebrows than any of the Queen's personal properties ever did. And the reason why? It's not far-fetched. Stay tuned, because we're about to reveal some surprising truths about Camilla. What you didn't about Queen Camilla. The reason Queen Camilla's estate has generated controversies is perhaps because of how the public has always seen her. It isn't just about her personal life or her marriage to King Charles. Some of the things she has said and done since becoming part of the royal family have struck a nerve, both inside and outside the palace. Over time, these events created a deep divide between how the public saw her and how the palace tried to present her. One of the biggest scandals happened in 1993, before she officially became part of the royal family. A secret phone call between Camilla and Prince Charles was leaked to the press. The call was full of personal and romantic details that shocked the country. People called it Tampon Gate. It confirmed what many already suspected, that Camilla and Charles were involved while he was still married to Princess Diana. After that, she wasn't just another royal figure. She was seen as the woman who had played a part in destroying a marriage that the public deeply cared about. That image stuck with her. Throughout the 1990s, Camilla was blamed for much of Diana's pain. She rarely appeared in public, and when she did, reactions were often cold. Even after Diana's death in 1997, the stigma remained. The idea that she had been a shadowy presence behind one of the most tragic royal breakups of the century was hard to shake. For many people, Camilla didn't only fall in love with a prince, she disrupted a family and helped bring it to ruin. But it didn't end there. When Camilla started stepping into royal life in the early 2000s, it was clear she was struggling with it. She was often described as someone who didn't enjoy the spotlight. According to reports, she once said she'd rather just leave it all behind. Royal life wasn't something she had trained for, and she didn't seem to enjoy it either. This made people wonder if she was serious about her role or just going along with it because she had to. There were small signs that she didn't fully understand royal rules. At one event, Camilla let Princess Anne walk ahead of her, which broke the usual order of royal appearances. Some people thought this was a simple mistake. Others saw it as a sign that Camilla still felt out of place in the royal world. Instead of showing confidence, moments like that made her seem unsure, like she still wasn't ready for the part she was expected to play. That discomfort lingered. Well into the 2000s and 10s, it became clear that Camilla still hadn't won over large parts of the public, or even some within the palace. In interviews, sources close to the family suggested that Camilla never wanted to be queen. The pressure and public attention wasn't something she handled well. She seemed uncomfortable during big royal events, and often looked like she would rather be somewhere else. While other royals grew into their roles, Camilla seemed to carry hers like a heavy burden.
I've been actually trying to keep quiet about reaching 3/4 of a century.
Questions about her place in the family also touched on her children. Her children, Tom Parker Bowles and Laura Lopes, became another point of contention. Unlike the children of other royals, they were never given titles. This was consistent with tradition, since titles typically follow bloodlines, not marriages. But it also sparked discussion. If their mother had married into the throne, why were they left entirely out of royal life? Tom once confirmed that they had never even attended Christmas at Sandringham with the rest of the family. That small detail revealed something more. Despite being the Queen's children, they remained outsiders. Their absence has raised quiet questions over the years. While it followed royal tradition, it still looked odd. Most people expected them to be more visible, even if only in the background. But they remained out of sight, and it made Camilla's place in the family seem more personal than official. It was as if she was there, but her family wasn't truly welcomed in. On one trip to the South Pacific, she was filmed watching a traditional Samoan dance. While Charles clapped and smiled, Camilla looked bored and distracted. The video made its way online, and people didn't like what they saw. It made her seem careless during a moment that should have been about respect. A similar thing happened during a visit to Kenya. Camilla was invited to take part in a Maasai dance. She joined in, but her body language looked stiff. The video went viral, and people said she looked uncomfortable around the dancers. Whether it was nerves or something else, it fed into an image of her as someone who struggled to connect with people outside her usual world. The next few years brought even more problems. Prince Harry released his memoir, Spare, and it didn't hold back. In the book, Harry said Camilla had been working behind the scenes to leak stories to the press. He believed she was trying to make herself look better by letting private details about others reach the media. That wasn't the only thing Harry shared. He also talked about the role Camilla played as a stepmother. He called her dangerous and manipulative. He believed she had made deals with reporters and used those connections to her own benefit. Even her title caused trouble. In 2023, it was announced that Camilla would officially be called Queen, not Queen Consort. For some, it was just a change in words, but for others, it meant something bigger. Reports came out saying that Princess Anne didn't agree with the decision. She thought it went against what Queen Elizabeth had wanted. Whether or not that was true, it showed there were still disagreements inside the palace about how Camilla should be seen. By 2024, the public discussion about Camilla had started to take a new shape. A Channel 4 documentary looked at her life and role in the royal family. It called her a wicked stepmother and brought back old stories with a sharp tone. The documentary didn't have much new information, but it reminded people of the past. Given all the ongoing drama and mixed feelings surrounding Camilla's place in the royal family, one big question keeps coming up. What happens if King Charles is no longer around? Will she keep her titles? Will she be pushed out of royal life? These concerns are growing louder, and we're about to explore the answers. Stay tuned. What will be Camilla's fate in the royal family? Even though many people are concerned about King Charles's current health, Camilla likely carries an even heavier worry, not just about her husband's condition, but about what her own future will look like if he's no longer around. The reason King Charles's health has become a major point of public concern is largely due to the announcement made earlier this year about his cancer diagnosis. While the palace didn't provide full details, no stage or type of cancer was mentioned. The fact that a sitting monarch chose to reveal such private information was extraordinary. It was the first time in modern royal history that a reigning British monarch publicly disclosed a cancer diagnosis. This level of transparency surprised many and led to growing anxiety about what might happen if Charles can no longer continue his royal duties.
The 10-year-old says during an interview to mark the end of his time in Cape Town.
Amid these concerns, it has become increasingly clear that Prince William and his wife, Kate Middleton, are gradually becoming the face of the monarchy. Their recent engagements go beyond the usual ceremonial duties. At the 80th D-Day anniversary in France, William represented the king, speaking on his behalf and standing with world leaders. This was not a casual appearance. It signaled that William was already preparing for a larger role. When William and Kate hosted a big garden party at Buckingham Palace without King Charles or Camilla, it made people feel like the focus of the royal family was slowly moving toward them. When that moment of succession finally comes, Camilla's royal position will depend entirely on Prince William's decisions as king. Camilla currently bears the title of Queen, something that came after years of public adjustment and royal endorsement, including from the late Queen Elizabeth. However, titles in the royal family are not fixed by law, they're shaped by the preferences of the reigning monarch. William will have full constitutional authority to change or modify Camilla's title if he wishes. That puts him in a unique position to either solidify her current standing or alter it in a way that reflects his own values and vision for the monarchy. Either way, the decision will be scrutinized. Part of what makes this decision so sensitive is the emotional weight tied to it. Many members of the public still remember Princess Diana, and for them, Camilla remains tied to that painful chapter. There's quiet speculation that William may, consciously or not, want to reframe the royal narrative to better honor his mother's memory. This isn't about revenge, but about correcting an imbalance many feel was never properly addressed. William has always been protective of Diana's legacy, and that emotional loyalty could influence how he treats Camilla once he's king. That loyalty has been visible in numerous ways throughout William's public life. Perhaps the most symbolic gesture was in 2021, when William and Harry unveiled a statue of Diana at Kensington Palace on what would have been her 60th birthday. William's speeches, his support for causes Diana cared about, and even the way he presents himself all tie back to the influence she had on him. For this reason, many wonder whether keeping Camilla in a visible role would feel like a contradiction. The key question is whether William's loyalty to Diana will translate into deliberate action against Camilla. There is no evidence to suggest that he harbors resentment, but in the royal world, inaction can be just as meaningful as action. If William quietly sidelines Camilla by reducing her public appearances or reassigning her patronages, it will still send a clear message. The royal family often communicates through symbols, and any such decision would not go unnoticed. Whether or not it is intended as punishment, it would certainly be interpreted that way by parts of the public and media. But there's another side to the story that many people are overlooking. From a legal standpoint, William would have all the powers necessary to redefine Camilla's position. The monarch has powers in granting or revoking titles, while removing the Queen title would be controversial and unprecedented. It is not impossible. Technically, Camilla could be reclassified as Dowager Queen or another honorary title.
As a child, I could probably ride before I could walk.
Especially if she steps back from active duties. The Constitution gives William that power, though exercising it would come with both political and emotional consequences. Public opinion would play a major role in determining whether such a move would be accepted or rejected. On one hand, there is still a vocal segment of the British public who have never fully accepted Camilla, largely due to her past with Charles during his marriage to Diana. On the other hand, over the years, Camilla has won respect from some quarters for her work on domestic abuse awareness and literacy programs. The challenge for William would be in navigating this divide. Taking any action against her could look vindictive, while doing nothing could appear as though he's ignoring public sentiment tied to his mother's memory. There is also a realistic possibility that Camilla herself may not wish to continue a prominent public role without Charles. Before becoming queen, she lived a relatively private life at her personal estate, Ray Mill House in Wiltshire. That home, which she bought after her divorce once Charles is no longer around, she may choose to return to that quieter life, away from the ceremony of royal life. How William handles all of this will say a lot about his style as king. He has already shown a more modern and open approach to leadership. He's spoken candidly about mental health, appears less bound by tradition, and seems in tune with the public in ways that older generations of royals were not. Behind the scenes, King Charles has likely made preparations to protect Camilla's future. While nothing official has been said, royal sources have indicated that steps may have been taken to ensure she remains financially secure and properly housed after Charles's passing. This might involve private trusts, property arrangements, or personal letters to William and other family members. Charles has spent decades defending Camilla against criticism, and it's unlikely he would leave her vulnerable in his absence. Though he cannot control what William will do, he can try to create conditions that preserve Camilla's dignity and well-being after he is gone. Do you think Queen Camilla's role will change if King Charles is no more? Share your opinions with us in the comments section. If you enjoyed the video, like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Also, click the following video on your screen, and you will enjoy it.